You are welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whoever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. One more time. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here.
Before we begin our service today, we recognize that for millennia, the Western Abenaki people have called this land home. They have loved and cared for this land. We now have the privilege of gathering here as a religious community. Let us honor this legacy by choosing to be good stewards of this land for as long as we walk, crawl, or roll upon it. Good morning. I'm Leah Greenberg, your worship associate for today's service. And on behalf of the entire worship team, I extend an enthusiastic, loving welcome. Welcome to this congregation, which for almost 160 years has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance as well as peace and justice in this world. Welcome to this community that affirms the worth and dignity of every person and the interdependence we share with all existence. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for worship. So if this is your first or second time and you wish to do so, we'd love for you to stand or wave so we can say hello. No pressure, but I see some faces. Hello. Aw, hi. We're glad you are here, and we invite you to fill out our welcome form. It's downstairs at the hospitality table in the vestry, so we can connect with you more fully if you care to do so after the service. And now we can all join in the welcoming by turning to our neighbors and sharing a few words of greeting. Thank you all. There is a very welcoming warmth in the sanctuary this morning, for sure. And you are invited to continue your conversations after the service during coffee hour. Please know that we have hearing assist devices available at the table in the rear of the sanctuary, and you can also listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room if you should need to leave the sanctuary for any reason. And if you have a personal concern or would like to share more deeply, a member of our lay pastoral care ministry team is available here in the sanctuary after the service. Today you're invited to connect with Ruth Whitty. There she is. Thanks, Ruth. And now, let us take a deep breath. Make sure our cell phones are silenced and enter more deeply into our time of worship with the prelude.
Here, there is a place for you. You who has crossed the threshold of the sanctuary countless times, and you who are here for the first time. Here there is a place for you. You who arrive with hope abounding, and you whose reservoirs of optimism run dry. Here there is a place for you. You with grief that wells up and overflows, and you with joy bright and clear. There is a place for you among these people, under this sky, within the boundless love that embraces us all. And let us join our voices together now in our opening hymn. It's number 1052 in the Teal hymnal, The Oneness of Everything. It may be a little unfamiliar to some of you, and you're welcome to listen to the choir through the first verse and then join in on verse 2 if you wish. Please rise in body or spirit.
Therefore, look
Let us now light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. And this morning we welcome Frank, Lucy, and Heather to light the chalice. And as they do, I invite you to light a chalice at home if you have one nearby. We light this flame, an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Now let us join our voices in saying these words of affirmation adapted from L. Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant.
The organ is a beloved part of our sanctuary and worship service. One of the crucial elements of the organ is the organ blower. Maybe you've never even heard that term, but it is essential. And this is the component of the organ that supplies air to those pipes so that they can actually make sound. Many of you know that the organ blower was destroyed in last summer's flood. The replacement of the blower this past spring was made possible by an anonymous donor. And that donor wishes to dedicate the organ repair to UCM's former music director, Catherine Orr. Her photo hangs downstairs in the vestry above the piano. Catherine Orr was the music director here at UCM from 1994 to 2015. Many of you here sang with Catherine and remember her music well. Her education and background was in choral music, and she had also developed some proficiency in piano accompaniment. When she first came to this church, she was instantly awestruck by the organ. It had seen better years in its internal systems, and she was determined to do all she could to restore it to its original splendor. Once funding for that project was in hand, Catherine dedicated unpaid time searching for a capable company, and then overseeing the restoration process. The completion of this work brought with it a longing in her to be able to play this magnificent instrument, and she further dedicated herself to lessons and practice. Soon, Catherine was able to offer organ accompaniment for an occasional hymn, and sometimes an instrumental prelude or postlude. In addition, she hosted organ concerts, bringing local and national performers to fill this church with the majesty of its sound. It seemed appropriate to the donor, who covered the cost of the 2023 flood repair, to request that this restoration be dedicated to the memory of Catherine. And there will be a plate that will reside near the organ, this one right here, which reads as follows: Organ Restoration, 2023 Montpelier Flood, dedicated to the memory of Catherine B. Orr, UCM Music Director, 1994 to 2015. And we are so grateful to all who have stewarded the rich musical tradition of this congregation over the years. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Caitlin Fraughton, the Director of Spiritual Exploration. And today in the Spiritual Exploration program, we are going to have a one-room class with all ages. We'll be making a covenant together, we'll be reading the story, All Are Welcome, and we'll be building with Legos, magnetiles, blocks, and more. So, I'm so excited for our morning ahead. If you're a child or youth and you would like to come join in the fun, follow me when we head out of the sanctuary. And adults, please pick up your children in the children's chapel today. And if it helps your child feel at ease, you are always welcome to join us for classes too. On another note, We are also looking for a few more helping hands to help out with the spiritual exploration program this year. Research out of the Spirituality Body Mind Institute at Columbia University shows that what makes the biggest impact in a child's spiritual life is having a shared spirituality with loving adults in their lives. And the good news is this room is full of loving adults in this community as well. And so if you're thinking it would be nice to make an impact in a child's spiritual life this year, we have all sorts of roles to fill with varying, or to help fill in with varying commitment levels. So we're looking for classroom assistants who can float between classrooms as needed. We're looking for volunteers to help plan social events here and there, classroom teachers who can volunteer 1 or 2 times a month, occasional substitutes, and people who are able to help set up before church and get classroom supplies ready for the day. And also spiritual exploration committee members. So if you're able to help out here and there, or even more regularly, please see Susan at the table downstairs in the vestry during coffee hour. Okay, thanks so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Now sing it up for children.
You heard some of them, but there are many ways to get involved in this wonderful community beyond attending Sunday services. One event we want to highlight is the UCM's Climate Justice Revival on Sunday, October 6th. We will join UU congregations across the country in dedicating an entire day for worshiping and programming for all ages, focused on how we can bring about climate justice in our community. More details are available at the Climate Action Team table in the vestry. And we invite you to learn about all the other ways of what's happening in our community by consulting the e-news, which comes out every Friday and is always available on the website. Another meaningful way to get involved is through your offering. And each month we have a community pouch program. And today I'd like to invite Julie Bond to share more about this month's.
Good morning. Wow, it's great to see so many new and familiar faces. It's great to be back. My name is Julie Bond. I'm the Executive Director of Good Samaritan Haven, which is the shelter network for the unhoused serving Washington County and the greater Central Vermont region. And thank you for choosing Good Sam as this month's community pouch recipient. We're really grateful for the support from the whole community. I was trying to think about how to explain the work of Good Sam in a few minutes, which is pretty difficult, but lately I've been making meaning by explaining that we work within the spaces in between. And this is how I've helped our team understand their roles in order to avoid too much emotional strain or moral injury when supporting people like you and me who are having to leave existing campsites or facing the end of their 80-day allotment of their hotel stay, or struggling to adjust to a congregate shelter bed after never having experienced homelessness in their lives. We work in the spaces in between the housing crisis, in between the politics, in between and amidst the cracks and fissures of state legislation. We span the cycles of poverty and social service benefits. We span cause and effect. And we work in the spaces in between security and insecurity, answers and no answers. And we try to do so with compassion and empathy and non-judgment. And this morning, over 50 people in the local area motels have been calling the state since 8 o'clock in the morning to see if they can eke out a few more days in their 80-day allotment in order to stay put for a little longer in a room that is their only shelter option. If they're lucky to be renewed, it only staggers the number of people who will be on the street in the next week or so, with few, if any, alternatives. So our street outreach team is with them now, assisting with those phone calls, helping to transport people, to hand out camping equipment, and simply providing emotional support in a situation that is difficult to get one's mind and heart around. On October 1st, we'll be opening our seasonal overnight shelter, which will provide care for some of our hardest to house neighbors. Yet this is only another 20 shelter beds. So we need a collective community response to tend to everyone in need. So I thank you for whatever you might give this month towards the community pouch collection. And I also urge you to bring your own time and talent to this crisis in whatever way you can, whatever that means to you. All of this makes a difference in supporting the work in the spaces in between. Thank you.
Now that you're properly inspired to give, thank you so much for practicing this spiritual act inside and beyond our church. Half of our cash offerings will go to the pouch recipient, Good Sam, and the other half will go to support the mission and ministry of this church. You can find, and have likely already found, the offering pouches at the end of the pews on the side aisles. Please pass them towards the center aisle. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms. Your offering is greatly fully received.
In our community of care and belonging, we hold one another with love in times of joy and in times of sorrow. And in that spirit, we share in the ritual of lighting candles of joy and concern twice a month. By sharing our joys and concerns aloud in this communal setting, we make space for one another to be courageous in telling the truth about our lives. We honor the vulnerability of asking for support from others. Through this deep sharing, we strengthen the bonds of community. During the candle lighting time, you may wish to come forward to share a special joy or a milestone so that we can celebrate with you. Or you may wish to share a personal concern or a loss that calls for our love, our support, and our prayers. In just a moment, you're invited to come forward, and you'll line up on the left-hand side of the sanctuary. You can share your name, and then briefly, in just one sentence or two, share the joy or the concern that is on your heart before lighting a candle. If you wish, you can also come forward and light a candle in silence. And just as a reminder, this service is being live streamed, so anything that you share here in the sanctuary will also be shared with our live stream viewers. And this portion of this service will be removed before we put the video into our archive on YouTube. And let us continue in this time of meditation and prayer, holding with compassion and grace all that has been shared aloud and all that is held in the quiet corners of our hearts. I invite you to settle more deeply into your body, to settle more deeply into your seat, or perhaps into your feet if you are standing at this moment. Feeling the weight of your body drawing you towards the earth. Feeling your body supported right where it is by the wooden back of the pew or the floor beneath you. Allow yourself to come home to your breath and to this moment, knowing that in this moment there is nowhere else to be but here. Allowing yourself this space of peace. And let us share in a few moments of quiet meditation together. This reading is an excerpt from With Head and Heart, the autobiography of Howard Thurman. When the storms blew, the branches of the large oak tree in our backyard would snap and fall. But the topmost branches of the oak tree would sway, giving way just enough to save themselves from snapping loose. I needed the strength of that tree, and like it, I wanted to hold my ground. Eventually, I discovered that the oak tree and I had a unique relationship. I could sit, my back against its trunk, and feel the same peace that would come to me in my bed at night. I could reach down in the quiet places of my spirit, take out my bruises and my joys, unfold them and talk about them. I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood. It too was a part of my reality, like the woods, the night, and the pounding surf. My earliest companions, giving me space. Several years ago, one of our Unitarian Universalist congregations put together a video for their Homecoming Sunday, otherwise known as In-Gathering Sunday, and this video went viral. The video showed short clips of church members of all ages walking out of their front doors, skateboarding towards the church building, gardening in the churchyard, etc. All these little vignettes. And as they walked, skateboarded, gardened, there was a voiceover of church members singing an R&B rap song called Coming Home. I'm just gonna read you the words. I'm not gonna attempt the rap part. I'm coming home, tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I'm back where I belong. I never felt so strong. I'm feeling like there's nothing that I can't try. And if you with me, put your hands high. Yeah, that's the part that's like. I found the video to be incredibly endearing, partly because it was fun to see people of all ages lip-syncing to this R&B rap song, but I also thought, yes, isn't this what church should feel like? Here in this congregation, we aspire to welcome all, to nurture a sense of belonging that is so expansive that each of us and our truest selves feels welcomed, accepted, and beloved. And we affirm here that each of us is welcomed, affirmed, and beloved, accepted within all that is, all of life, the universe, the mystery beyond our understanding, the divine wholeness, within the oneness of everything. We seek to create conditions for belonging for one another within community, a place for each person to share genuinely who they are, the finished and unfinished parts, the certain and the questioning parts, the rough edges and the gentle core. At the same time, the path of belonging involves an inward journey. It involves traveling into that foundational place inside yourself, that place of inner knowing that feels itself connected to something beyond. This place inside each of us is where the alchemy of our passions, our longings, our life experiences, and our values forge that sacred part of each of us. And it is here, in that inner core, that we learn and relearn how to belong to ourselves. Tapping into this inner belonging can help us feel more grounded as we navigate uncertainty, and it can also provide a stable place from which we can reach out to others. The Buddhist teacher Kira Jewel Lingo puts it this way: a key step that can help us to begin to settle ourselves when we are profoundly unsettled is to come home to ourselves in this moment, whatever is happening. When we touch this experience of coming home, it is like we have finally arrived home after a long journey. We experience a sense of peace and even freedom, no matter how confining the outer circumstances. Coming home to ourselves feels like belonging. It is a state that holds us and enables us to hold others. To feel at ease with oneself is at the heart of belonging. Rather than a neatly wrapped package that is handed to us, belonging starts from the inside as we work through the questions and doubts and discover connection. And we don't become at ease with ourselves in isolation, right? When I was 19, I traveled to Nicaragua as part of a study abroad internship program. I was very far from home, living with strangers, and communicating on a daily basis in a language that I had only recently learned to speak with any small degree of fluency. I was also engaging in farm work on a regular basis, something that was also unfamiliar to me as a city girl. Yeah. And one day, feeling quite lonely and questioning my decision to embark on this adventure, I stood at the edge of the forest, clearing brush with a machete. Can you picture that? Yeah. I was with one of the teenage girls who lives on the farm, and we were hacking away side by side in silence. And all of a sudden, the wind just picked up, and the branches of the trees above us were swaying in the wind, and the rustling of the leaves came on so quickly that I instinctively looked up at them in awe. And in that moment, I felt this deep peace. I was reminded of the larger world and the mysterious universe that I and all of us are a part of. I felt inexplicably that I belonged. And I find such comfort in this fact. We are held by something larger than ourselves in times of loneliness and uncertainty, and in times of joy and bliss. This connection can be a path to coming home. This connection can strengthen belonging. Howard Thurman was a Black theologian, teacher, and mystic. Growing up in Dayton, Florida, Thurman often felt more at ease in nature, among the trees and the huckleberry, than with other kids. In his autobiography, he writes, "The quiet, even the danger of the woods, provided my rather lonely spirit with a sense of belonging that did not depend on human relationships." One of his steadiest companions through the ups and downs of his childhood, including the loss of his father when he was a young boy, was that oak tree in the backyard. This tree offered him comfort and intuitive understanding. Leaning against its solid trunk, Thurman felt a deep sense of peace, a feeling of coming home, of belonging. And his description of this relationship with that tree is just imbued with spirituality and belonging. It's clear from his writing, which I shared earlier, that he just had a profound personal relationship with this tree. Listen to his words again. "I needed the strength of that tree, and like it, I wanted to hold my ground. Eventually, I discovered that the oak tree and I had a unique relationship. I could sit my back against its trunk and feel the same peace that would come to me in my bed at night. I could reach down in the quiet places of my spirit, take out my bruises and my joys, unfold them, talk about them. This tree was a part of my reality, one of my earliest companions giving me space. Thurman, as with many of his contemporaries, faced ongoing adversity by way of the injustices of racial discrimination and economic injustice. He lived with his mother, his grandmother, and his 2 siblings, and his family was very poor. And it is in this context that I find Thurman's testimony to his sense of belonging in nature to be so powerful. This connection clearly gave him strength, a way to come home to himself despite the circumstances. In other words, a way to be resilient. This church year here in our congregation, we'll be exploring what it means to cultivate resilience. And that is how we meet change and adversity in life in ways that lead to peace, to health, and to happiness. And opposed to most mainstream understandings of resilience, we will not focus on resilience as primarily individual perseverance. I will not be talking about bootstraps here. Instead, we'll talk about resilience as a quality found in the collective and cultivated through the care, connection, kindness, and wisdom of community. The writer and activist Soraya Chemaly makes the distinction this way. She writes, "Our mainstream resilience doesn't make inclusivity, connection, and collective care over lifetimes a priority. You can, for instance, be resilient in conventional ways and still support white supremacy, mock pacifism, harbor contempt for difference, and believe that conscious capitalism will save us from ourselves. If, on the other hand, you reimagine a resilience in which all of these are unacceptable, then you can envision new worlds and how you can move through them. The resilience that I propose we cultivate is one that depends upon inclusivity, connection, and collective care. It is a resilience that prioritizes interdependence and honors difference. Belonging is a necessary component of resilience. It is at the heart of inclusion and connection. And while belonging can be nurtured in community, it also starts within us. A sense of belonging to something larger than us and beyond us is what spirituality is all about. And this spiritual belonging, the kind evidenced in Thurman's testimony, has been shown to be deeply connected to one's well-being and ability to thrive in the face of change and adversity. The psychology researcher Lisa Miller points to the connection between spirituality and children's well-being over time. And her research has found that spirituality is actually one of the consistent factors that has made a difference for a child's ability to thrive. What makes us spiritual, Miller writes, is our awareness that our lives, our relationships, and the natural world, both seen and unseen, are filled with an ultimate presence. It is our awareness of transcendence in us, around us, through us, beyond us, that is spiritual. Now, spirituality is not defined by any particular or singular theological belief. In this religious community, spirituality is not defined necessarily by a personal relationship to God, or at least not to a God that's understood to be a supreme being, wholly apart from humanity. Our religious tradition recognizes and honors that spirituality comes from a deep sense of connection, perhaps to a transcendent God, but also from nature, to one's family and neighbors, to other church members, to the trees of the forest, to any source through which one experiences a sense of ultimacy. When we know ourselves to belong in this way, we are more able to nurture a sense of belonging in others. Whether that's someone sitting next to you in the pew, someone you sing with or knit with or dance with, whether it's a student of yours, your own child or grandchild, or a child you mentor. As a community here at UCM, you help one another in discovering and deepening that inner sense of belonging to something greater and larger than ourselves. You do this by simply being together. You do this by pointing out sources of awe and joy and connection. You do this by reveling together in the sacred. Together, we remind ourselves that we belong to something beyond our, at times, small-minded preoccupations or self-involved pursuits. As you wash pots and pans together after a community lunch, you belong. As you sit together in a circle of silence, you belong. As you support another church member through the next round of cancer treatment, you belong. As you celebrate the birth of a long hoped-for child, you belong. And as you show up after the disaster to clean up and plot the way forward, you belong. Here we help each other to find our way home, to ourselves, to one another, to the expansiveness and oneness of life. Welcome home. And I invite you now to join in our closing hymn. It's number 34 in the gray hymnal, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. Thank you to the choir for singing for us a beautiful rendition, and now we get to sing together. Please rise in body or spirit.
I
our chalice and carry in us its flame of truth, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the days and week ahead. And as we do so, let us say our mission statement together. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
May you find in the expansiveness of life a home for our human community. May you find in this community a home for your spirit, and may you find in your spirit a home for peace. We conclude our service with the postlude played this morning by Hilary Poff.